Good morning. It's time for us to start learning to use the graphing calculator to graph equations. So in order to do that, the first thing we need to do is to make sure that there's nothing that's going to get in the way of your graph working correctly. So the first thing we need to do is make sure that your plots are turned off. There are sometimes things that get set, so we need to make sure that this is taken care of. You're going to push the second button on your calculator, and then the Y equals button that has the word stat plot above it. And you're going to see a screen that talks about whether your plots are on or off. What you need to do is make sure the plots are on. Notice this has all plots on. Your calculator may have some plots on or no plots on, but if we go down to option 4 where it says plots off, we need to hit enter and enter again. And now our plots are turned off, and that's going to make sure that we can actually do the graphing that we need to do. All right, now you have all seen equations in slope-intercept form before. Y equals 2x plus 3. We know that that's an equation, slope-intercept equation. And what we need to do then is we need to be able to graph it in your graphing calculator. So you're going to take your calculator and you're going to push the Y equals button. Notice there's a whole list of Y equals, Y1 equals, Y2 equals, Y3 equals. We're just going to use the one at a time. Now our equation was y equals 2x plus 3. So we're going to put in the number 2, and then we're going to push this button right here. And this button right here is going to put an x on your screen. 2x plus 3. Then the easiest way to graph this equation is to push the zoom 6 button. And all of a sudden you see you have a nice graph on here. It shows your x-intercept and your y-intercept, and that's considered to be a good graph as long as it shows the x-intercept and the y-intercept, where it crosses the x-axis and the y-axis. So what we need to do is think about what window on your graphing calculator showed for that. Now this one was very good because the window was actually right without doing anything besides hit zoom 6. But what I want to do is I want to make a note of what the settings were on that. The default settings on zoom 6 are that the x-axis goes from -10 to 10, and the y-axis also goes from -10 to 10. We can see those settings by pushing the window button, and what you see here is x-min is -10, x-max is +10, y-min is -10, and y-max is +10. So that actually will make a difference, and we're going to have to change the window for some other things. So what I want to do is I want to write down the window settings, because that's what our lesson is about today. So for x, we're going to have from -10 to 10, and for y, we've set our window at also -10 to 10. And the viewing window is important because we need to be able to see your x-intercept and your y-intercept on your graph. All right, let's do another one. Not all of them are going to be very nice to you when you hit the y equals, or when you hit the zoom 6. You may end up having not everything show. You may not have your x-intercept and y-intercept show. So what we want to do is take a look at y equals -x plus 14. So we're going to push on your calculator. I'm going to go back to y equals. You're going to clear this out, and you're going to put in negative. Once again, the x is located right here next to the green button. -x plus 14. Now once again we're going to try the zoom 6. What we notice is that none of the intercepts are shown here. We need a little bit more on the x side, we need a little bit more on the y side in the positive direction to get those intercepts. So we can borrow from the negative and add on to the positive. So we're going to go into your window. We needed a little bit more on the x, so let's change that to 15. We needed a little less here, so we're now going to do -5 to 15. On the y side, again, we need a little bit further on this. We're going to try 15 and see if it works. And so now our window is going to look at -5 to 15 and -5 to 15. Now if you've changed the window, rather than hitting zoom 6, you have to push the graph button. Alright, now that we've pushed the graph button here, we see that we can see the y-intercept and the x-intercept. So it's a good graph. It's a complete graph, and we want to see that. So I want to record the window that I needed to use in order to see that correctly. And if we go back to the window button, we're reminded it was -5 to 15 and -5 to 15. Now, sometimes you may even have a little bit more of a challenge. This one's going to be very challenging to get into the window, so we're going to have to take a look at this one very carefully. Okay? We're going to go back into y equals and put in our equation. This one is 0.02x plus 1. We're going to try to zoom 6 it. And we find out that it almost looks like a horizontal line. We know it's not. We know in this that our y-intercept is 1 from your prior knowledge of slope-intercept equation. So I want to change my window a little bit. I just want to go maybe from -2 to 2 on the y side to try and make this fit a little better. So on the y side, let's try -2 to 2. And see if that gives us a little better graph. Alright, well that's great for the y-intercept, but we need to go way farther to the left to get the x-intercept. So let's go back to our window and let's adjust the x-intercept. Let's go down maybe even as far as -50. And we don't have to go very far on this side, maybe -50 to 2. Let's see what that does for us. Okay, maybe just a little bit further, because I think it goes right up to the edge. Let's adjust this and make sure it goes beyond so we get a good x-intercept. So this may be -55, or even let's try -60, and then graph. Alright, now we can see clearly that we have an x-intercept and we have a y-intercept, so we need to record our window that we used. For x, it was -60 to 2. And for our y, we used -2 to 2. Alright, so now you've learned how to put a graph on the graphing calculator, and you've also learned to adjust the window so that you can see the x and the y intercepts.